Welcome back. Today we are checking in with Miniminuteman, aka Milo. It has been an absolute pleasure to watch his videos so far, and I get to see some more debunking. This is Philip Zeba debunked, TikTok's worst conspiracy theorist. I think there might be some tea. I'm very, very excited. Don't really know too much about conspiracy theories, so as usual going into this pretty blind, but I do love the absurdity of it, so I'm very excited. I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am. If you are new here, please do consider subscribing and really help me out. I'd very, 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 very much appreciate it. Thank you. Also, don't forget to use code MOAN for 10% off your order at GamerSubs. Thank you. Are you ready? Let's go.
You will not believe what they found there. It's seeing giant creatures roaming around him, and he's brought to a shimmering rainbow city. All of this is in his diary. Apparently, there are leaked photos that show us they're trying to cover up something big down there. Cultures all around the world just all independently come up with the same allegedly fictitious anthropomorphic bird, built by completely different cultures with zero contact among each other and thousands of kilometers apart. All this—
I'm sorry, you were talking so fast. Is that how they get you? Do people with like conspiracy theories, they just talk like really, really fast to try and confuse you because it's working?
dismissed as irrelevant or flat out
Sorry, my opinion, irrelevant.
ignored by mainstream archaeology. Get your tinfoil hats ready for this one.
That was funny. That was so good. Hi. What's that?
Jesus.
Oh, candle?
That's pretty nice. When I woke up this morning, it was 8 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So I came to the
Ooh.
studio, and I was like, that's a little cold even by my New England sensibilities. So I thought we could have a little fire in here to warm myself up. That's nice. That's a real fire hazard right there. I actually do have a space heater in here with me today, which doesn't matter considering the entire place is uninsulated and way too big for this space heater, bringing us to a balmy 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And with that, I'm ready to make a video. Anybody want some paraffin wax? Do a slight rearrange here. There we go. We don't need the candle to be directly in front of me. Wow, I have a great idea. While I work on scripting the Atlantis episode, why don't I just do a fun little easy one-off video? You know, I don't know, maybe I'll talk about someone's TikTok account, you know, and just sort of break down all the videos that they've made. It'll be nice and easy, and certainly won't take me 2 months and 2 reshoots to finally complete. I have discussed a lot of conspiracy videos in my 3 years on TikTok and YouTube, and over the course of this time, there's been a lot of repeat offenders. But through all this time, there has been one account that has reigned supreme. The uncontested king of bullshit. An account that I get tagged in so much, it clogs my inbox every single time I open TikTok. For those of you that know who it is, I'm sorry. But today, we're gonna be talking about Phil Spixel, a conspiracy TikTok account run by a fella by the name of Philip Zeba. Philip Zeba? Zeba? I don't know. Philip, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. A few months ago, I
That needs to be my new reaction going forward. Anytime
Zeba,
that I say the name
Philip,
wrong.
if I'm pronouncing your name wrong.
I'm gonna stop like apologizing. Be like, I'm just gonna confidently say your name and then stare at you like this.
A few months ago, I found that I had been tagged in one of this guy's videos more than 300 times. And that's just one example. It seems like 75% of my tags are from this guy's content. And honestly, I'm kind of sick of it at this point. And so today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be doing something I have never done before. I went through Philip's entire channel. It was, as you can imagine, an agonizing process, but I do it for you. And from all those videos, I have pulled all the major arguments that he makes. And in this video, I'm going to be going over every single one of them. Everything from Hollow Earth to pyramid power plants to the Smithsonian destroying giant skeletons. Howdy friends, my name is Milo Rossi, and welcome to this exceptionally long video, which I can think of no more an appropriate name than Philip Zeba Debunked.
Nice. Ooh.
Philip Zeba is a bit of a character. Now, as one creator...
Are we gonna skate past that? Are you okay? Did you... What just happened? Is that how, am I drinking wrong? Wait, hold on. Okay, no, I definitely, maybe I just don't know how to drink water.
Looking at another, I recognize the fact that all of us are characters in a way. We are based very heavily off of who we are in real life, but of course we put on a bit of an exaggerated persona for the camera. We're gonna be getting to know Philip's character very well today, but the trait we need to start with is a little something that we in the biz like to call yapping. My man Philip can yap. Now if you move the mouse, I'm sure you're saying to yourself, who the fuck is this guy? He's got a 2-hour-long video complaining about somebody else yapping. Yeah, you know what? That's fair. I'll admit it. Pot calling the kettle black a little bit. But the difference is that this is a YouTube video essay. It's supposed to be 2 hours long. What else are you supposed to play in the background while you're, doing homework or something? Philip's sole medium is short-form content. Now, when you think of short-form content, what do you think of? 60 seconds, 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, maybe. Now, my man here can make videos that are upwards of 5 minutes long. Now, while I personally think 5 to 6 minutes is way too long for a short-form video, I have some respect for it, okay? He's got a lot to say, even if it is yapping. But that's
No, yapping, I do this though. Literally at like the start of every single stream, we yap for at least like an hour. And sometimes it's like easy to waste an hour. And then other times I'll like end early or attempt to, and then I'll circle back around and just start yapping again. But honestly, isn't 5 minutes still short form? Or is that more for like YouTube shorts or something? I don't think I know what short form is. I don't think I could shut up after 2 minutes of talking. I'm gonna be honest. You just started talking at like 2 minutes. You've said like one sentence. Like, I don't know. Maybe I am just too yap-pilled. Because 5 minutes seems like still kind of short. I'm not sure.
Where my problem comes in, because I make all of my shorts 60 seconds. And because Philip spends so much time yapping, he is able to say so much bullshit in 6 minutes that I can only debunk like 1 point in 60 seconds. So since I can't even begin to scratch the surface of his bullshit in a single short form video, I decided to do this instead.
Oh, so it's like, okay, so the other guy is like a grandmaster in yappage, and Milo plays yap casually is essentially what I'm getting here, because there's just too much. He's overwhelming him with the bullshit. So I see what he's saying. It would take too much time to go through everything, and that's why we're getting cozy and we're gonna have an hour and a half of debunking bullshit.
Now, I've been planning to make this video for a long time. For those of you who subscribe to me on Patreon, you will have seen that this has been in my roadmap for like ever. In fact, I actually already filmed this video. The entire thing, it took me like 5 hours. And my structure was just, I watched like 7 of his videos in a row and just talked about them. But the problem is it ended up being so redundant, and I absolutely hated how it was organized. So I decided to take another like 3 weeks to re-script the entire thing and shoot this. Oh, it's cold in here. What are we looking at? Oh, we have just crossed the 30-degree Fahrenheit line. Can you guys see the steam coming out of my mouth? Probably not. The lights are shining into it. What if I do this? Ready? This is going to be crazy. Or it's not going to work at all.
Whoa!
See? Told you it was cold in here. So before we get into this unnecessarily long video, I want to welcome some of you. First, I would like to give a warm welcome to any viewers who are familiar with Philip's content and have some sort of belief in it. If you are a skeptic, I encourage you to watch through this whole video. In this video, I'm going to be going over all of the points Philip makes. All of my sources are going to be linked on screen, and you can find all of them in the description. So if you are truly someone who, wants to do your own research, put your money where your mouth is and watch this video to educate yourself further. Or if you want to call me a sheep and click off the video, you can have at it, but you can see the fact that you care more about your feelings than you do about facts. Hit him with the Ben Shapiro. Secondly, I'd like to give a big welcome to pretty much everyone else. If you're new to the channel, welcome. You've probably seen some of my TikToks where I do debunking of conspiracy theories. Well, if you like those, you're in luck, because I'm going to be doing it for like 2 hours here. If you clicked on it because you saw how long the video is and you're just playing it in the background while you do homework or something like that, welcome. I do the exact same thing. I actually kind of intended for this video to be a little bit for that. If you want to be generous, sauce me an interaction. It's like tipping the bellhop. It helps what I do here, And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I love you. And bonus points if you're watching at the live premiere, Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, the last person that I want to welcome to this video is Philip Zeba himself. Now, Philip, if you are actually watching this, I'm actually partly addressing this video to you. As I said in the beginning, we both have caricatures. I think I said character, but what I should have said is caricatures. We both have exaggerated versions of ourselves that we present on the internet. This is my caricature. We're about about to see your caricature. Now in this video, my caricature is going to go toe-to-toe with your caricature. But one of the reasons that I reshot this video is because I felt like the first one was just too much of like, you know, commentary channel attack content. And that didn't really sit well with me. And so while I am still gonna be going for some pretty good digs in this video, I actually am trying to give you some advice, as weird as that sounds.
Wait, no, that's like really cool. I can honestly really respect that, especially like rewriting everything and reshooting it because you feel like it's going a certain direction that you don't really intend or you don't really prefer. That's very respectable.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really like your content. And as a matter of fact, I don't even really know if I like you. But as a man to man and a creator to a creator, I respect you because regardless of the content you make, you are good at what you do. Even though I disagree with the information that you're putting out there, you have an obvious ability to connect with your audience. You have built a platform of 1.5 million followers on TikTok, and that's pretty impressive. Now, the only part of you that I've seen is your caricature. And so, unfortunately, I'm going to be judging you based off your caricature, which is a little unfair, but I don't really have anything else to go off.
No, for this, that being like the only thing, and I like that he's like, this feels very me-coded and kind of like over explaining it and being like, this isn't about like who you are as an individual, this is what you're presenting, because that's all I have to like go off of is what you're showing me. So I consider that fair, especially because he's making the distinction of it. And also, again, that he did this script one way, didn't really like the overall like tone or direction that it was going, and decided to then change it. Like that's, I mean, I'm really impressed personally. I think that's very sweet.
So I want you to know that my thesis here isn't, you know, fuck you, get off the internet. I am A, trying to point out why I think the content you're making is something you should move away from and the damage that it has. But along with that, I also want to try and give you some, you know, advice and maybe some ideas for how to make your content better. Because even though the stuff you are communicating is a bunch of bullshit, you are a great communicator. So if you can respect the fact that we're kind of going into this as frenemies, I'm good to get this thing started.
That's really sweet.
You hear
very
that? That's the
respectful.
squirrels. Hey, keep it down up there, little fuckers. Oh, shit! They're climbing on the fucking rain gutter. Yo! Hey, little bastard, get out of here. Little shit. You know, honestly, I'm okay with having squirrels in my house. They get the attic, I get the downstairs. That works. We have a no man's land. We have an understanding here. I mean, it's cold outside. Why should I get to be in the warm house and they can't? Throughout this video, I want us to all keep a question in mind. And that is, does Philip actually believe in the things that he is saying, or is he just saying them to get clicks? Because someone who actually believes in what they are saying is willing to sort of go the extra mile, do the extra legwork. And even if we don't agree with them, and I'm going to research all of my points to, you know, show whether or not there's fact backing up the things he says, they still believe in it and they are willing to back it up. Someone who does it just to get clicks is someone who doesn't really care what words are coming out of their mouth. And in my opinion, it's even a little bit worse because they probably don't believe the things they're saying, but they are willing to peddle it anyway to people who do believe it because it's the thing that gets them clicks and views. Okay, and lastly, before we get into things, I want to make this very clear at the beginning. This is not a hit piece. I do not have a personal problem with Philip. This is not me trying to, you know, get off the internet and start some fucking bullshit. I don't really care about who Philip is as a person. I am just looking at the things that he is saying. These could be coming out of the mouth of anyone, and I would be fact-checking them in the exact same way. You are not to use this video as grounds to give Philip or his fans any negativity, and if you take a video like this as an excuse to harass someone, you are fucking dirt to me. Okay, we all on the same page with this? Good. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this thing started.
Ooh.
Damn, bro, it's cold up here. I need to get my mittens. Right, Philip, piece of advice number 1. Never let him catch you without your mittens. Ooh, that's nice. All right, so I think there's no better way to kick off listening to Philip's yapping than by looking at whatever the fuck this video is.
Bruh, what on earth is this thing?
That's Big Bird in drag. I saw him last time I drank ayahuasca.
Apparently it's called the opium or the erosion bird. And don't worry, they're definitely AI generated.
That's bullshit, Philip. Those things are definitely real. The one that I saw told me exactly how and when I was gonna die.
But many are beginning to claim that creatures like this are actually real, and we've already encountered them in our past before.
So this video came out around the height of the like erosion bird meme. So he clearly isn't claiming that these things are real, because that would be ridiculous, but he's using it as a bit of a clickbait segue into whatever the next bullshit is he's gonna say.
Why did cultures all around the world just all independently come up with the same allegedly fictitious anthropomorphic bird?
The same allegedly fictitious anthropomorphic bird. Okay, we're grasping at straws right off the bat here. So Philip, I gotta ask ask you something real quick. If you look at all those birds that you got up on screen right now, do those look like the same bird to you? Is that
No.
Thoth at the top? Toth? What the fuck is his name? Okay, you got Thoth at the top, you got some sort of Mesopotamian god, and then some South American god. Now, while they all have bird features, what you will notice is that they have about as many different bird features as is humanly possible. One of them has the head of a bird and no wings, one of them has the head of a human and wings, and one of them is dressed in a bird costume. You cannot tell me that that is enough evidence for you that all of our ancestors were connected to bird people. So this brings us to a very important theme through all of Philip's content that we need to talk about right off the bat. And we even get to learn a new vocab word. So everyone repeat after me, hyperdiffusion.
That's a big word for Elmo. Hyper diffusion? Is this like when you speed diffuse your like tea bag? What? What?
Hyperdiffusion is a pseudoscientific concept that traces its roots back to the end of the 1800s and the beginning of the 1900s. And even if you're not familiar with the word, you are absolutely familiar with hyperdiffusion. If you've seen anyone peddle conspiracies about Atlantis or long-lost, globe-spanning civilizations of the Ice Age or even ancient aliens, these are all examples of hyperdiffusion. Generally, the concept dictates that all of the major civilizations on Earth are descended from one lost master civilization. You can see why this was such a popular concept in the late 1800s and the beginning of the 1900s. Now, while the people who peddle these concepts today are obviously not using them in the same way as, Ignatius Donnelly did in the, 1900s, hyperdiffusion is something that has been used for a litany of terrible shit, everything from eugenics to justifying Nazi land claims. Now, obviously, that's not what Philip is doing here, but it is important to understand the roots of this concept. Now, with the background out of the way, how does hyperdiffusion really work in the practice of these videos? Well, why don't I just show you, and I promise you'll get the hang of it really fucking quickly.
So this is a map of pyramids all around the world, all allegedly built independently of each other and all having identical structures that follow this similar step pattern. Famous pyramids of Djoser in Egypt, Chichen Itza, Pyramid de los Nichos, Tikal Temple, the Great Pyramid of Cholula, Kokur, and Prasat Baksay Cham Krong in Cambodia. And deep within the ocean is the sunken Yonaguni monument, all with a nearly identical look, yet built by completely different cultures with zero contact among each other and thousands of kilometers apart.
Wow, that one is pretty classic. If people all over the world didn't have contact with each other, how did they know how to put the rocks going up? Just like the weird bird thing that we started out with, all these concepts are predicated on the idea that if A looked like B, then high-speed rail network. Trust me, we have a lot to cover about pyramids in this video, so I will get into that claim itself, but for the moment I want it to stand as an example of hyperdiffusion. Frequently, hyperdiffusion is used when talking about some of the most basic shit possible. When talking about the pyramids, it's like, how did they realize to stack them, or how did they realize to make stones fit together this way?
How did our ancient ancestors figure out these identical building techniques completely independent of each other?
What these people totally neglect to mention is there's only so many ways you can work with stone. If you have thousands of civilizations across the world, of course some of them are going to come up with pretty similar ways of doing the same thing with the same materials trying to achieve the same end. Now, along with talking about physical constructions, hyperdiffusion also plays a lot into folklore, just like the birds that we saw just a minute ago. Now, a misconception that I think is peddled by these conspiracy theorists all the time is that archaeologists don't want to listen to folklore. In reality, folklore is one of the most important anthropological tools that we have, being anthropology, not archaeology, because you don't like dig for folklore. Almost all folklore is based on some modicum of truth, and there's no anthropologist in the world who would deny that. But these conspiracy theorists kind of take it to a different level, where instead of looking for the seed of truth in the forest of myth, you just decide to cut down every tree and take it at face value.
Ancient Indian mythology had the Vedas. In the Old Testament, we got the Nephilim. The Quran had the people of Ad. Ancient Egyptians had their carvings and drawings of extremely large people in chairs. Mayans and Aztecs had their own depictions of towering humans. And the Sumerians, well, they had the Anunnaki.
We're gonna have to talk about giants a lot later in this video, so I'm not gonna get into it now, but
That's literally editor. We're gonna learn the history of editor. What are we talking about? This look. This is me. This is me standing next to Ebony. It's the same. Oh my god, we're gonna learn about his great grandparents.
Talk about giants a lot later in this video, so I'm not going to get into it now, but hyperdiffusion. The thing that these conspiracy theorists don't really recognize is that all of the sort of commonalities between all of these cultures are things that every person around the world had contact with. The idea of a giant person is not a hard thing to come up with. We all live around people, and the concept of anthropomorphic animals is fucking ancient, as long as we've been able to, you know, fire enough synapses to combine two creatures together. We are a species that lives on the ground. For as long as we could look up, we've seen birds flying in the sky and thought, man, I wonder what's up with that. So if you're telling me that the most likely reason a bunch of cultures around the world have bird deities is because there are actual bird deities and not because we all live on a planet with fucking birds, then you are out of it.
Zuni, Acoma Pueblo have legends of a race that existed there before them. These myths all speak of either a race of reptilians, yes, we're in lizard people territory now, or giants that civilized the area.
Uh-oh. What do you mean by that, Philip? That doesn't really give the right. I know you didn't mean it like that, but let's just, I'm an anthropologist, all right? My field pretty much got its birth from eugenics, so I'm trying to, you know, right the wrongs of the past a little bit here.
Micmac, a Native American tribe that lived along the Atlantic coast, which shares a baffling number of similarities with Egyptian hieroglyphs, two cultures that allegedly had no contact among each other. This one was just a coincidence, of course.
Philip, I'm going to give you my first piece of advice. You clearly have an interest in history. You clearly have an interest in antiquity and the mysteries of the past. There are so many mysteries out there that you can talk about without having to peddle fucking reptilian bullshit. What about the Micmac language you just talked about? That's pretty interesting, isn't it? I'm sure a lot of your viewers probably haven't heard about the Micmac language. But because of the way you presented that video, now the only thing they know about is, well, maybe the ancient Egyptians had contact with the Micmac. Why don't you make a video talking about the mysterious Micmac language? Why is it that the Micmac have a written language and so many other indigenous groups in the US didn't? By trying to claim that there was some fictitious lost civilization, you make every little piece of the puzzle that we have at our disposal that's actually real completely trivialized.
Just like the Fuente Magna Bowl found in Bolivia with Proto-Sumerian cuneiform script writing on it.
That's not true. All right, guys, we're doing an Awful Archaeology speed run. Hey, guys, welcome back to Awful Archaeology. Today, we're going to be talking about the Fuente Magna Bowl. The Fuente Magna Bowl has no history, as in we have no idea where it came from, there is no record of the site, and we really don't even know when it was discovered. For those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, you'll be familiar with the word context. It's probably the most important concept in archaeology. Most of the information you can get from any artifact is finding where it is located. It's context in the world. Finding a projectile point in a stream bed is very different than finding a projectile point in, you know, a pile of bones. But if you were to take both of those projectile points, not record where they came from, and then just keep them in a box, they mean pretty much nothing. So you could have literally the Holy Grail in your hand, and if you don't have any records of where it came from, what the environment around it was like, it pretty much is worthless. So since we have no record of where the Fuente Magna Bowl came from, that makes it a little suspicious. Since people claim that it is the sole artifact that, you know, shows that ancient Mesopotamia had contact with North America, that makes it really suspicious. Oh wait, not North America, South America. It was in Bolivia, right? Sorry, my bad. Philip claims that he knows what language is on this bowl, which he should try and get that published, considering that nobody else has managed to figure out what the language on the bowl is. Various people trying to interpret the Fuente Magna Bowl have claimed that the script on it is anything from Sumerian, Proto-Sumerian, Phoenician, Georgian, and even Hebrew. So long story short, if people can't even agree on what the language on the bowl is, it probably doesn't mean anything. In all likelihood, the Fuente Magna Bowl was either a completely fabricated artifact or an actual artifact that was later carved on in order to sell it for a higher profit. Thanks for watching Awful Archaeology. Stay curious and all that shit.
Yay!
Records of inner Earth civilizations have been reported by many, if not almost every ancient society of our past.
Wow, I wonder why that is, Philip. Maybe because for as long as people have had their neurons firing, we've wondered, I wonder what's below our feet. I'll give you 1 second to guess what he's gonna do next. Time's up. If you guess that he's going to list a bunch of civilizations that all have underworlds in their mythology, you are absolutely right.
Buddhists,
that's what I
Gartha.
was
Ancient
gonna say.
Indians have Patala. The Mayans got Xibalba. Chico Mostok for the Aztecs. The Sumerians Ker, Babylonians Urkala. Chinese Diyu. Ancient Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and even Celtics.
I'm sorry, the what?
And even Celtics.
The fucking Celtics? I always knew the fucking Celtics were doing something down there, bud. I gotta humble myself here for a second. I'm not normally the kind of person to make fun of someone mispronouncing something, but the fucking Celtics? You can't come onto the video of a guy from fucking Boston and not expect him to notice when you call the Celtics the fucking Celtics. You wanna go try that shit in fucking Southie, bud? Blue 95, the Auto Mile in fucking Norwood. Come on down there and try calling the Celtics the Celtics. I'll rock your fucking shit, bud. Shout out Massachusetts, you'll always have my heart. He's wearing a NASA shirt too. Actually, that's pretty hilarious. You know what, Philip? I'm gonna give you a little point for that. I'll imaginary mark it on the wall. Hilarious that you're wearing a Celtics shirt. That would have been really good. If you wore a Celtics shirt, I would have thought that you actually intended to call them the Celtics. Wait, am I losing my shit? Is it actually pronounced Celtics or?
Oh no, that's me. Wait, Didn't I do that with something? Didn't I do that with like the pronunciation of something or like the spelling or something? Or I don't know what I did, but like just go above and beyond, like drill it home. And then like I've been gaslighting myself the entire time. Oh no, that's great. Oh no.
Is it Celtics? I always thought it was Celtics. Okay. Citation needed on that one. I'm looking at it and it looks like it's Celtics, which is how I've always heard it. But if I'm wrong,
a research assistant and a fact check.
At least that bit was still pretty funny. No, I don't want to know how to pronounce Celtics like the Boston Celtics.
Celtics.
Yeah, I know how to pronounce the name of the Boston fucking Celtics. Here in Ireland, except for the initial soft say in sports teams' names, like the Celtics, Celtic with a hard C or K is the standard, but that was not always the case. The early pronunciation was with an S sound, reflecting its nearest origin in French. Okay, well, look.
Be careful. There's French here. Everyone buckle up, watch your pants, tread lightly.
Looks like Milo is right again. Okay, I'm glad I was right about that. That would have been pretty embarrassing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Celtics do have their own underworld. The TD Garden is kind of like the underworld on Earth, so I mean, it would only make sense.
Just like the flood myth that appears in every single ancient civilization.
Okay, fuck off. We're not talking about the flood myth. I am so sick of that bullshit. The problem is that the entire concept of hyperdiffusion has one really big weakness. Whether someone's trying to convince you of Atlantis or a lost globe-spanning civilization of the Ice Age, there is one single piece of evidence that can debunk every single one of those points. And that is because people like to bang. Come on now.
Whoa.
Whoa. Did you see that?
Whoa.
My finger.
What? Is he secretly a firebender?
People like to bang. Come on now. Whoa. Did you see that? My finger caught on fire for a second. For as long as humanity has climbed out of the primordial ooze, we have been leaving our grubby little fingerprints all over this planet. And the most conclusive way of seeing where humanity's path has been is looking at the literal genetic code in our bodies. Have a look at this map. This is a map of human migration across the world done only through genetic evidence. If you do believe that there was a lost advanced globe-spanning civilization in the Ice Age, then they must have had absolutely no game. If you do believe in these hyperdiffusion ideas, please just research this yourself. One off the top of my head, the Kennewick Man, an ancient set of human remains found in what's now like the Pacific Northwest of the United States, has a very close genetic link to a lot of indigenous Americans, as you won't be surprised, but also has a very close link to a lot of indigenous Siberians, because genetically he was very close to that group of people. Look at the globalization of the world today. We have people from all over the world who are able to, you know, mix with one another. When our civilization collapses, and you can mark my words that it will, if there were some anthropologists thousands of years in the future, they would be able to tell that we had a globe-spanning civilization because of our genetics. The frustrating thing about archaeology is you're trying to assemble like a 1,000-piece puzzle with 3 pieces left. And that means that there's a lot of blank spaces. But a lot of these hyperdiffusion theories act like we have all of the pieces. So instead of acknowledging that there's gaps between them, they're like, ah yes, Karahan Tepe, and, you know, Gunung Padang, and just like all this random shit, and they're like, yes, this is the full picture. Even though we're constantly uncovering new shit, and we'll never have the full picture. It's no small wonder that the people who actually studied archaeology are not the ones peddling this bullshit. Whoa, do you have another lighter? Now kiss. They multiplied in my pockets.
There's gonna be a baby lighter. You better be careful. You can't just be putting them in there like that. They're gonna start fire.
Okay, now that we're all on the same page with hyperdiffusion, let's go to the land down under, because we're gonna explore the ruins in Antarctica.
Oh, that down under.
The ruins left behind by one of these ancient civilizations are rumored to have been discovered and then covered up in Antarctica as well.
Huh?
We are off to a strong start with this one. Okay, I want you guys to take 5 seconds to look at this image, and I'm gonna see if you can guess what I'm gonna talk about in this section. I'll be in the corner taking a piss if you need me.
Okay. Guys, I feel like this is gonna be on the test. Are we gonna talk that it like overall looks weird and that it doesn't look like real? Are we gonna talk that like it's cold? I'm new here. What are we? Shadows? We think the shadows are fucky? I don't know. I mean, thinking of anything being built in Antarctica is a stretch to me just because of like surviving. But I don't know what. Yeah, see, the fact that Antarctica is uninhabitable, that's where my brain goes, but I'm not sure. Are there mountains in Antarctica? Oh, are there not? Is Antarctica all flat because ice? There are? Okay, I was about to say, don't fuck with me. I'm dumb. I'm gullible. Why would they be using stone? Well, if mountain equals stone, I'm not sure. I don't know what direction we're going. I'm woefully unprepared.
I don't even need Google to tell me that that's an AI-generated image, Philip.
A lot of controversy behind these.
There is absolutely no controversy behind these ruins, Philip. Don't act like there is.
But apparently there are leaked photos that show us they're trying to cover up something big down there.
This is the first time we're seeing Philip's caricature shine through a little bit. Philip's character is that of a do your own research as long as that research is the Joe Rogan Experience kind of person. So he'll speak with this language that tries to trick you into thinking that what he's talking about is actually more plausible or more, you know, uncertain than it actually is. Which is why he'll lace things into it like, lot of controversy around these. There's no fucking controversy around them, Philip. You are literally just lying to your audience in order to drum up clicks. I mean,
yeah, those are the buzzwords, right? If you're gonna be like talking about something, and I guess maybe that's just how like conspiracy has to be like presented, because if you're talking about something that you can't prove, you don't have to make it necessarily believable. You just have to, like, what's the word I want? Like, not degrade the truth, but like, you know what I mean? Like, just put enough doubt and uncertainty. Maybe uncertainty is the word I want. Like, you don't necessarily prove it, but you just make people doubt that it would be impossible. Maybe? I don't know. Just make it tantalizing. Because I think if someone's gonna tell me about something and you can tell that it's like utter bullshit, but they kind of want you to think about it, they just make it sound like flashy and stuff. I don't know.
they're trying to cover up something big down there. Who the fuck is they, Philip? Who's they, Philip? No one is trying to cover that shit up, okay? There's no ruins in Antarctica. The conspiracies are right in front of your faces, people. Jesus Christ, these conspiracy theorists give like the perfect smokescreen for the government to keep doing the shady shit they've been doing for years. Honestly, maybe Philip is a government psyop, because the more Brett Feway's talking about how the government is covering up giants, the more the government can continue fucking us 10 ways to Sunday and getting away with it.
Doubters will tell you these photos are fake because Google told them.
Okay, you smug son of a bitch, because Google told them. Philip, you can't rag on Google. It's the entire, like, sum of humanity's knowledge at your fingertips. Don't try and make people feel stupid for doing more research than you. But you know what, Philip? Just because you wanted to be a little bit of an extra smug bastard about this one, I decided to go down a little bit more of a rabbit hole just for you. So here's how I started. I Googled photos of ruins in Antarctica. I got this list of images, none of which are the ones you're talking about, which you'd think that if it was suddenly some big controversial thing, the images would be pretty much everywhere, right? But whatever, doesn't matter. I'll just take your word for it. And the photos were exactly what you would expect. We had this mountain that looks like a pyramid that we're definitely not gonna have to talk about in just a couple minutes, Philip. Oh my God, why would you make me do this? As well as some photos of shipwrecks and snowbanks and shit like that. But as I scrolled down, I found this image, which isn't one of the ones that you used, but looks very similar. Now, as if looking at it isn't enough to tell you, it says directly underneath, stable diffusion. So I tracked this down to the Hugging Face article that it came from, and I found that it was referencing a bunch of these images being used on a YouTube channel. The Scott Lewis YouTube channel, which honestly, Philip, I'm sure you'd love him. He looks like he talks about the same bullshit talking points that you do. But they still weren't the same images you were using, so I decided to go back to the drawing board. And so I went back to my Google debunking, and first I found this hilarious April Fool's article from the Society for American Archaeology from the 1990s, talking about ruins being discovered in Antarctica and featuring a geologist called Scott Amundsen. For any of you that are familiar with polar history, you will recognize both of those names immediately because they were the two explorers that raced to get to the South Pole first, as well as an archaeologist named H.P. Lovelock, a hilarious twist on H.P. Lovecraft and Lovelock Cave, which is also something we're not going to have to talk about in this video, right, Philip? But then I found this Reuters article called Photos Allegedly from Bird's Expedition to the Antarctic Allegedly Created by Artificial Intelligence. The Reuters article referenced another article called Top Secret Lost Photos from Admiral Byrd's Expedition, collection by someone called Lost Books. So I click on that link and I find Lost Books page. Now I can't see the whole article because it's behind a paywall, so I obviously pay the paywall in the essence of doing research and look through the entire article. Now again, it had a lot of images, but not the ones that you used. So I did a little more digging on this Lost Books character. It is at this point that I should mention that Lost Books is someone who uses AI to illustrate their, fictitious novels that they write. Nowhere are they trying to convince you that these images are real. They are merely using them as a catalyst to tell their story. So after looking through the catalog of books, I found one called Mysterious Antarctica, claiming to have more than 100 images from probably the same set. And so for the low price of about 3 USD, I bought the thing. So I scroll through the entire book, but none of the images are the same. But something very unusual is happening, because even though it's none of the same images, the images look really similar. Like, really similar, as if they came out of the same computer-generated mind. So feeling like I hit a dead end, I went back to Lost Books' webpage. I found their email and I wrote to them. I said, hey, I'm working on a YouTube video. I came across your book and I need your help identifying some AI images. He responded back and said, yes, I would absolutely be interested in helping you with this project. Also, I am best friends with your cousin.
What?
I didn't expect that to happen. Somehow, this dude went to art school with one of my cousins who I've never met, and they've been best friends for like 20 years. Philip, I don't know why you led me down a rabbit hole where I connected with like a 4th cousin that I've never met in my life. This cousin that I apparently had then also reached out to me, and I learned that he lives near a really big flea market that I like, and now I'm gonna meet him. I don't know how this happened. Philip, I came here to learn about fucking AI images, and you just gave me a goddamn family reunion. So
Is this top tier conspiracy like happenings? Does this happen every time that you go down a conspiracy rabbit hole? Will I get a sudden 4th cousin 3rd time removed from way back on yonder, like if I just like deep dive into some bullshit? That's crazy. Small world.
So anyway, cousins aside, I wrote back and said, holy shit, what the fuck? So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to give a warm welcome to none other than the mastermind behind Lost Books himself, Tim.
Hi, Tim!
My name is Tim Boucher. I live outside of Quebec City. I am an artist. I've been doing art way before AI art started, so that's not my only art thing, but I've been using AI to do images that are hyper-realistic, that are kind of a combination of fact and fiction, and I did my own set that was called Mysterious Antarctica that purported to show Admiral Byrd exploring Antarctica in the 1940s, 1950s as part of an operation. So I made a bunch of fake images that went viral. They're very similar to the ones that I made, and I used prompts like historical photos or grainy black and white images. I think with like the AI compression stuff that you see, like the weird artifacts, kind of like the fuzzy edges and stuff, you have an old fashioned looking picture. It makes your brain sort of accept that there are flaws in this image that otherwise, if it was modern, you might not accept them. When I first saw those images, I was like, well, this is a language that I speak. Like I've been making images in this style, even of this subject, for a while. So when I see them, I immediately recognize sort of stylistic elements, the way that some of the color is done, the way that sort of like light and shadow works, and also when you look at the images carefully and you think about the mass of the objects, a lot of times that's when things start to fall apart. Yeah, when you send me those images, it's like, I know this, I've been doing this for a while. I think they were stable diffusion, probably. They might have been Midjourney, but I've seen things now that lead me to believe it's stable diffusion. So it's the way that these things spread is people take them out of their original context and they just re-upload it and they put their own spin on it, and then it goes around the world again and again and again. So I started with the images that you sent me from, I think, a TikTok video, and I put a few of those into a reverse image search in Google, and that gave me a clean version. And from there I started tracking and building a timeline of like, okay, when was this first posted? But I found the original source, and the original source, it seems, is an artist on YouTube named Edgar Reyes. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, and he admits to it in a video on his channel and a video on another channel that it's kind of a long interview about how he did it and why he did it. He considers himself an artist too, and he makes a lot of the same points that I've been talking about already, about sort of like using the tools for creative exploration. Later on, they get reposted in the next week or two onto archive.org to make it look like it's a historical document. Suddenly, there starts to be a bunch of Russian websites that picked up those images. There's one that is like a sort of a Russian version of 4chan that seems to be one of the big like places where it started to propagate. And then from there, it goes to a number of other Russian websites that in my digging, I found were publicly linked to disinformation networks and propaganda networks that are known to be Russian origin. And that's not like my opinion, that's the opinion of multiple independent outlets that I looked at that covered that site where it got reposted to. And those images got, at that point, recontextualized by whoever wrote that article in Russian, with a bunch of new talking points and new ideas that are not at all contained in the original video. The original video is just images and music. And then from there, it appears that it got translated into at least 3 other languages: Czech, Slovak, Lithuanian. Oftentimes in this kind of investigation, you never really know what the ground truth is. But I think in this case, it seems pretty conclusive that they were made by an artist using AI. And then after that, they get picked up and repurposed by other actors, especially also on sites like Rumble and Odyssey. And you see there's a lot of copies of it on YouTube too now, from different accounts. But it's like, after it leaves the original creator's account, it just gets like reposted and reposted and reposted endlessly. Yeah, I mean, it sucks. And if it was my images being used that way, I would be mad, and I would try to take action. What I would probably do is I would file DMCA copyright claims against people using the images, first of all, without my permission, but more importantly, in a way that's derogatory or extremely offensive, you know?
Thank you for coming on, Tim. It was a pleasure having you. I appreciate you sharing your expertise with us. I had a much longer interview with Tim that didn't need to go into this video because it's already long enough, but we had a wonderful conversation, and I asked him all sorts of questions about his opinion on AI as an artist and where he thinks the art world is going, and I put the entire interview on my second channel. So if you want to watch that, the link for that is in the description. He is a wonderful mind, and I think you should definitely listen to what he has to say. And if you're interested, I recommend you to support the man himself and check out his book. Link to that's in my description. If you spend $5 on coffee, you can spend $3 on a fun little book. I really enjoyed it. It reminded me a lot of Motel of the Mysteries, one of the books that I grew up reading. And it's really cool to see AI-generated imagery sort of supplementing a fiction book. The frustrating thing is when that art form is taken and bastardized by people like Philip. These artists are clearly not claiming that what they are creating is real, but it is so easy to just wipe the metadata from these images, throw it up on TikTok, and then regurgitate some bullshit. So kindly, Philip, to your claim that, you know, Google will tell them that this is fake, I know that you're trying to discourage your, fans and viewers from doing their own research, but if it makes you feel any better, I don't think that it's AI because Google told me. I think it's AI because someone told me who does it for a living.
A lot of people argue these ancient ruins aren't real, and who knows, but you gotta keep an open mind, right?
Philip, there is a difference between keeping an open mind and just believing any bullshit that comes across your screen. I appreciate that. You should keep an open mind. There's even some things in this video that you present that I'm like, huh, that's kind of interesting. But you can't claim like you're encouraging people to keep an open mind when you spent the first half of the video talking about how they'll Google it and say that it's wrong like a bunch of fucking nerds. Maybe you should have Googled it, and then you wouldn't have had to make a video where you just said bullshit for 5 minutes. Okay.
I think the statement, keep an open mind, is supposed to excuse their lack of proof. I think, like, if you are like losing a debate or an argument or just a discussion about something because you are unable to prove your point, it's, well, you're closed-minded, or, oh, you're not open to new ideas or different things like that. And it's not that people aren't open to it, it's that you just don't have a good case. You're not building a good enough case. There's not enough like wiggle room. And just especially with this, and I didn't have a lot of like experience with conspiracy theories, but I'm seeing that a very big noticeable thing for me personally is they just want to say that something exists, or that something could exist, or that something did exist, or like whatever, right? Some form of like this thing, and instead of taking the time to prove it, it's just, well, it could be, you know, well, I could fly. I've never jumped off the top of a building before. I could fly. Who knows? You know, like it's kind of like that level of bullshit. There's nothing, you don't have anything to prove. You don't have anything to add. maybe you like an idea. Maybe you just like the idea of something, and that's fine. But to be presenting it, I see why he's getting irritated. To be presenting it as like a real possibility, you know what I mean? Because it's ludicrous. If you want to believe in like some ludicrous stuff, sure, but you can't be mad at me that you're not making a good enough argument, or you're like, I don't know, get better at bullshitting. Because just saying that someone's like closed-minded, or you're just not willing to believe in bullshit easily enough, and that just, I guess, ruins your entire argument, is that I'm not gullible? I don't know, man. All people can fly, only one time though. See, I need to save it for a good time then.
I've given you guys sort of the appetizer. You have a little bit of an understanding of who Philip is. So with this in mind, I think that this is an important point for us to talk more specifically about Philip's character.
Okay.
Doubters will tell you these photos are fake because Google told them.
I want to preface this by reiterating something I said earlier. I don't think that this is who Philip actually is. I think that the version we are seeing of him is just as much of a caricature as any influencer on the internet. Every influencer or creator sort of makes like a very hyperbolic version of themselves to present to the internet because that's what sells. In person, I am very similar to how I am in these videos, but I absolutely play to certain parts of my personality because that's the character that I am in front of the camera. And I think Philip is doing the exact same thing here. So all of that is to say that this is not me ragging on Philip as a person, because I don't know Philip as a person. I only know this part that he is putting forward online. And frankly, I think this part that he's putting forward online is kind of a douche.
Let's take a second to get a few people mad out there with these photos of excavated giant bones found all over the world. Nah, bro, it's fake. Didn't you read that fact check article, bro?
There's something so poetic about watching someone who I feel like I helped out of a puddle of their own vomit in the teak basement say, didn't you read that fact check article, bro? Do you remember that time when, was it like, Ted Cruz tweeted, don't listen to the science about climate change? It's like that. If someone tells you something and then makes fun of everyone who would try and do their own research to prove them wrong, chances are they're lying to you. Philip kind of puts on this persona of being like the smug, cold, hard fact kind of guy. It's like, we're really gonna trigger some people today. He's the kind of guy who probably said that everyone was triggered a lot in 2016 and then just never really grew past it. He has a few videos where he toes the line of talking about, you know, woke things. Frankly, it's just mega cringe, so I didn't include it in this video, but you kind of get the character that we're working with here.
Hey, yo, I gotta go. I've said too much.
And he also does that bullshit. Hey, yo, I gotta go. I've said too much. Philip, nobody gives a fuck. You're not gonna get fucking assassinated for talking about giants. Whoa, Milo, but you're coming down on him. You're trying to silence him. No, I'm not trying to silence him. I'm literally just trying to do his own research for him. Honestly, I don't want to silence Philip because the longer he does this, it's fucking job security. The nice thing about what I do for a living is that as long as there is stupid people, I can pay my fucking mortgage. So please, Philip, if there actually is a sniper trained on you right now, let me know and I will do everything I can to help because I got a water bill to pay.
All dismissed as irrelevant or flat out ignored by mainstream archaeology. We're fed the narrative that they were built as tombs for pharaohs.
As you won't be surprised, he uses a lot of language like this. Mainstream archaeology. We are fed the narrative. You can tell that this is a guy who, you know, watched Ancient Apocalypse once and then probably watched Graham Hancock on Joe Rogan, and that's the research that he's done into archaeology. And so because he's gaining his archaeological input from two people who do a terrible job of representing archaeology, he thinks he knows what archaeology stands for, which is absolute bullshit. And I want to make clear that I'm a firm believer that you don't even need a degree in archaeology to call yourself an archaeologist. It's high time that academia moved past needing to spend thousands of dollars to get a piece of paper to say that you like something. But the difference between studying archaeology your whole life and calling yourself an archaeologist even though you don't have a degree, and what these people are doing, is that these people are speaking like they are an authority figure in archaeology, like they know better than archaeologists. Now, I actually do have some pretty immense respect for Graham Hancock. Even though I fully disagree with the things that he's saying, I do appreciate the fact that he can actually try and postulate his theories and, you know, actually try and back them up with evidence. I don't think his evidence is very good, but at least he's engaging in the scientific method. At least he's trying to play the game, you know? Now, Philip here is not doing any of the extra legwork. He's not really adding anything to the conversation. He's just sort of boiling down all the talking points and then reciting them in 6 minutes, which there's nothing wrong with. I mean, it's kind of what every influencer does, isn't it? But you kind of miss out on all the nuance, and instead all you get is like a frat bro talking about how mainstream archaeology is trying to silence us. So as much as I don't want to be a gatekeeper of archaeology, Philip, I'm gonna assume you have a business degree. You can be as interested in archaeology as you want, but don't fucking talk about what mainstream archaeology wants you to think.
To which modern Egyptologists claim these handles were used with ropes to pull jars. They're just getting desperate at this point.
And now we put it all together. Here's Philip being both smug and wrong. The people who actually study ancient Egypt for a living say it's this. Pff, they're just getting desperate at this point.
Which was later dismissed as an ancient sloth. Like, come on, they're just making shit up at this point.
That skeleton of a giant ground sloth is a giant ground sloth? They're just making shit up. Philip, you could make your caricature anything you want. Why'd you have to make your caricature a dumbass? Like, really, I don't know what other terms to put it in. Philip, you don't look like you're some mega intelligent critical thinker by looking at a giant sloth skeleton and saying that they're making it up. You kind of just end up looking like a goober.
But apparently,
I don't think I have ever heard someone get called a goober and it cut so deeply to the core, man. Like, good God. But no, I understand what he means. Like, maybe it's just me. If I wanted to yap about stuff, I try to make it very clear. Hey, I don't know what I'm talking about. Hey, take this with a grain of salt. Hey, I'm just talking out my ass. Like, cause I'll yap and it'll be either stuff that I like, stuff that, you know, I don't know, wish, like, oh God, don't get me started on like Twilight. Like, I feel like this is just me like yapping about Twilight and like things that I wish was like in the story or things that were like different about the story, like whatever. That's way, way different than like archaeology and like fact and everything else. But like, I feel like that's the closest thing that I can equate it to is I'll just make up shit. Or I'll be like, you know what would be better than like what's real? That's the thing. Okay, maybe that's what it is. Like, is conspiracy theorists just like they make up shit that they want to be real because they think that it would be cooler, but they just can't accept that it would never be real? Like, they live in the fantasy too hard that they just want it to exist so bad that they just lie? Maybe? History fanfic of reality. You might be onto something. That might be what it is. That's crazy. They're all fanfic writers. And I mean, honestly, that would be fine. But just own that you're full of shit. Because like, oh, okay, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole, so I'm not gonna harp on it. But like, honestly, if you just want to make shit up because you think that it sounds cooler than like what we have to deal with or what we know and like different things like that, then that's fine. Do that. But it's just like accepting that you're just full of shit. Oh no.
that was just the tip. And if you know me,
Just the tip. Bro, you cannot say just the tip, then look at me like this. Oh no.
I do not like just the tip.
You know what?
Oh my God. Oh no. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ on a cracker. Oh my God. Oh, great heavens. Oh my God. Oh, I need a moment. Oh my God. Oh my God, I need some water. Oh, great googly moogly. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Oh, great heavens. Oh, it was so good. I'm so sorry. Oh, okay, I'm good. I'm composed. Oh, I'm all right. I'm not. I gotta watch this fucking idiot again.
Looking at a giant sloth skeleton and saying that they're making it up, you kind of just end up looking like a goober.
But apparently, that was just the tip. And if you know me, I do not like just the tip.
You know what, Philip? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I don't think that's true either. Because as one cishet man to another, you look abrasively straight.
Pyramids. Don't y'all get a little half chub when I talk about them?
What? Is it cause it's shaped like a bob? Is this cause it's very bob-like?
Did they model the pyramids after Lara Croft Bob's back in the day? Wait a minute. Maybe that's my conspiracy theory. Wait, SDG also said Lara Croft Bob's.
As Asher do.
No, Philip, I don't get a little half chub. I'm fully fucking erect. See, this is how you can tell this guy doesn't have a degree in archaeology. He only gets a half chub when you talk about pyramids. Me, I gotta go change.
Civilization to exist on Earth, then this will change your mind and blow it at the same time.
So Philip puts a lot of like weird sexual innuendos in his videos. I don't really know why this is. I have some respect for it because like it engages with the audience, which is cool, I guess. But I mean, do you really want a video of yourself online saying something about getting a half chub with a pyramid? I guess I actually did just say something a lot worse. Fully fucking erect. Who the fuck am I kidding? It's not like I'm getting hired after having this job anyway.
I'ma give it to you raw. 10 undisputable facts that absolutely double penetrate pyramid deniers.
What? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my pure Christian ears! Oh lordy! Oh my god! And I thought I was unhinged, dude. Man, I gotta take notes. This is insane.
Dude, what the fuck? I would give anything to read a psychological evaluation of Philip Ziba. At least that's probably the first time that sentence has ever been spoken. You got that going for you.
I spat 10 unbelievably raw facts about the pyramids in the previous video, which were all true, but of course the Google debunkers desperately tried to prove them wrong.
You guys catch that? Unbelievably raw facts that the Google debunkers desperately tried to prove wrong. We're bringing it all together now. We got smugness. We got generalization. We got sexual innuendos. And the last thing we got is the most important one. We got Google debunkers. If there is one straw man that Philip loves to talk about, it's the Google debunkers. But a little piece of me feels like I might be the Google debunker, because even though I haven't done a lot of short forms talking about Philip's content, I sort of am the leading debunker, as far as I know, on social media. And so chances are Philip's probably pretty familiar with me. I know it's a team effort, you know, we got some other ones. We got Aslan Pahari out there who's making some amazing debunking content.
Hello, my friend.
But he's a bit more anthropology focused. Me, my job is being a bastard. And whether or not I was the Google debunker before this video, I'm definitely the Google debunker now.
The Google debunkers will tell you, oh, it's a natural mountain formation formed through erosion.
Google debunkers. It's a natural mountain formation caused through erosion. Well, that's a really good point. What if I said it in a really stupid voice? It's a natural mountain formation formed through erosion. Oh my god, it's actually wrong now.
So all the Google debunkers are quick to downplay any new evidence that comes up.
Google debunkers.
Aside of the pyramids, the Google debunkers don't want you to know about.
The Google debunkers. The Google debunkers don't want you to know about this. The Google debunkers are trying to cover it up. The government is full of fucking Google debunkers.
Google debunkers, Google debunkers, Google debunkers, Google debunkers.
This guy drives me fucking Google debunkers. I'm gonna be honest. It's always fucking Google debunkers with this guy. Google debunkers this, Google debunkers that. I can't throw a stone without hitting a fucking Google debunkers. Oh, my old lady, the old ball and chain, the goddamn woman drives me fucking Google debunkers. It's cold in here. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, it has increased 4 degrees. That space heater is doing its best. You know what I need? I need a little pick-me-up, because now we're gonna be talking about ancient Antarctica on maps.
Okay.
Wow, it's fucking cold in here. Woo! All right, it's 1 p.m. somewhere.
Yo! Wait, it is 1 p.m.! It's 1 p.m. here! How did he know?
Cheers. It's fate.
And that somewhere is right here. Ooh, yeah! When Philip did his watch through of Ancient Apocalypse, he learned something really interesting. And that is that there are ancient maps that depict Antarctica. And Philip was stoked about this. And so he made it all of our problem.
But even ancient maps painted Antarctica as green.
Philip, fucking god. Depicted is that your evidence? I'm gonna assume that you're using this as evidence for Antarctica being—
What? A bunch of shit's green. Shit's yellow. What about the yellow? Oh, wait, is he trying to say that Antarctica wasn't like all icy and that's why it's green or something?
in green because it's what you're showing while you're talking about it. how do I
Oh,
put
no.
this? What
no.
the fuck, dude? Okay, I need to see it on here. Believe it or not, the images that show up aren't actually on the screen. Look, Gianfranco, you can put any image up there right now and I won't know what it is. Wow, I have very strong feelings about this image.
But even
Wow.
ancient maps painted Antarctica as green.
Oh my god, you are fucking dense. Okay, no. That does not mean that Antarctica was green, Philip. That is not at all what that means. Let me make this full screen, what the fuck? Okay, why don't we extrapolate your logic here a little bit, Philip? So if we're looking at this map, which is from one of the earliest full atlases of the world, you can see that part of Africa is green, part of Russia is green, part of the Near East is, oh no, the Near East is red. Philip, you see where I'm going with this, right? This doesn't make any fucking sense. You know, when they color in like states on a map, they're not coloring them in order to,
It's just to make them
depict what they
easier to
actually
see,
look like.
right?
They're coloring them in so that you can differentiate them between each
Yeah.
other. They use 3 colors to do this. It looks like they used yellow, green, and red. If the
Yeah.
Antarctica was red, would you still be using this fucking map? I don't even know how to debunk this. That's just kind of dumb, dude.
Twice the size of Australia and was thought to be ice-free as recently as 6,000 years ago.
It was most definitely not thought to be ice-free as recently as 6,000 years ago. I don't know who would ever make that claim. Do you have any idea how much the sea level would have been up 6,000 years ago if Antarctica was ice-free? What the fuck is this about? So we do ice core drilling in Antarctica. You can find little gaseous bubbles trapped in the
I've
ice,
seen
which can
that.
tell us all kinds of horrifying things about our planet. Those ice cores have ice that can go back as far as 2.5 million years. Philip, where the fuck are you getting this number that there was no ice on Antarctica 6,000 years ago? How does that even make sense? 6,000 years ago was like the tail end of the last glacial max. Well, 10,000 years ago. It was like 20 to 10 that ended. But still, 6,000 years ago, the Earth was colder than it is now. Why would it have had no ice on it, and how would it have been completely covered in ice since then? What?
This map from 1513 by sailor Peary Reyes shows a perfectly accurate coastline of Antarctica.
Philip. I get that you watched Ancient Apocalypse once, but the least you could have done is at least do some Google debunking. Maybe if you Googled something, you wouldn't be making videos that are dumb. That's not the coastline of Antarctica. That is the coastline of South America. It hooks in a weird way because someone was sailing around the continent with a fucking pencil and a piece of paper trying to draw it. They didn't have the luxury of the satellites that we have today that prove that Antarctica is not connected to South America. But Milo, how do you know? It might have been that way for some fucking reason. Well, if you actually read the Peary Reyes map, it says on the part that should be Antarctica, the place with all the snakes. Now, I'll let you guess which one that sounds more like, Antarctica or, you know, the very hot humid forests of South America. Just ridiculous. I do think it's very funny though, watching the do your own research crowd clearly have one source for all of their information and then just, you know, parroting it over and over again and clearly not doing any more digging into any particular topic.
This map connects South America to Antarctica, which it could very well be that over 10,000 years ago, these two continents were connected by a sheet of ice.
Okay, well, 2 things to note here. First and foremost, that is footage from Ancient Apocalypse. I think I rest my case. And secondly, what the fuck, Philip? I thought you said 6,000 years ago was ice-free.
Thought to be ice-free as recently as 6,000 years ago.
So 10,000 years ago, the ocean, the salt water between the tip of, you know, Antarctica and Terra del Fuego had completely...
Whoa, wait, that's that close? Dude, it's crazy to me because like I just had the like flat out map, you know, that the US loves to give with like the US in the middle and everything, right? So like my brain doesn't think that that's like that. Or like I also probably think that Antarctica is way smaller than it actually is. We need to do more GeoGuessr. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're like, you know, right next to each other. That's obviously still like a very long distance. But like that being anywhere remotely quote unquote close, I guess. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shut up. I'm an American.
frozen, but 6,000 years ago, it had all melted away. I'm gonna bludgeon myself over the head with this bottle so I can be thinking on the same level as you. What the fuck is this about? I think it's kind of interesting how these people will talk about ice. Ice has a really hard time of traveling across water, but it has a really easy time of traveling across land. The reason that the ice sheets got so far in North America is because, you know, they kind of came into northern Canada and then they could just traverse all that land coming down. But they have a lot harder time in water because they float and break and, you know, break off, and the water is salt water, so it doesn't freeze quite as well. So the Earth would have to be really fucking cold in order for an ice bridge to form over the sea and make it to the bottom of Terra del Fuego. You would need a really cold fucking planet to do that. And if you want to tell me that the planet went from being cold enough to have a ice bridge between Latin America and Antarctica 10,000 years ago to having no ice on the whole continent in Antarctica 6,000 years ago, and now there's ice there again, Philip, you gotta get your fucking story straight, bro. This doesn't even make sense.
Oh, whoa. Parkour.
Ciao, post-editing Milo here. I want to quickly add something about the glaciers that I forgot to mention in that part. The way that a glacier forms is not by just like rivers freezing and ice magically appearing. A glacier forms from layers upon layers of snowfall. So during an ice age, it's a lot colder, so a lot of the precipitation is snow instead of rain. And so as the snow piles up layer after layer, it eventually creates an immense amount of weight. And under all that weight, the snow is compressed into ice. This is why it'd be really hard for an ice sheet to connect Antarctica to Latin America, because the snowfall is ending up in the ocean, whereas in North America, the snowfall was landing on land, allowing the layers to accumulate and the glaciers to proceed much farther. Anyway, I just needed to come in to add that, because I kept watching this video on the editing table, and every time I came to this part, I'm like, if I don't mention the part about the snowfall, it's not gonna make sense. Anyway, okay, that's all I have to say. It's a beautiful day. I'm going for a walk. Bye.
Okay, thank you, bye.
Also, when people talk about sea level rise from climate change, the place that all that water is coming from is Antarctica. In the northern hemisphere, all of that ice is more or less seasonal, like ocean ice. There's not a land mass up there, and so because of that, all that ice is pretty much in water, and therefore the sea level is as high as it would be whether it was liquid or solid. But on the South Pole, because it's all on an actual landmass continent, all of that ice does not contribute to the height of the ocean.
Whoa. I've never seen this. I had no idea that Antarctica looked like that. Whoa. Sorry, I'm just marveling. That is a big chunk right there, man. So is this. Damn. Okay, sorry.
Because it's all on an actual landmass continent, all of that ice does not contribute to the height of the oceans. So if all the ice on Antarctica were to melt, the ocean level would rise a bunch. So this theory is predicated on the fact that pretty much 6,000 years ago, there were no ice caps. We would absolutely know if the sea level was like 300 feet higher than it is now. How much would that even be? How high would sea levels rise if there was no ice? 230 feet, Philip. Where the fuck is the evidence for that?
And we're supposed to believe ancient humans managed to find their way around every single continent in the world, even discovering the microscopic islands of the Pacific Ocean. And somehow they just fully skipped Antarctica, even when it was a luscious green paradise.
Yeah, what a bunch of dumbasses. You can find the tiny Pacific Islands, like, that's kind of crazy. But you didn't even find Antarctica? God, ancient people were losers. You know what, Philip? That's a good point. I'll agree with that, but let's do a little critical thinking here. Humans were able to find the tiny Polynesian islands, which is a shot in the dark, and yet they did it. So do you think that it's more likely that people never found Antarctica, or if they did, they didn't fucking stay there? Philip, Antarctica is a terrible place. No human would want to live in Antarctica. The only people there are like researchers and shit. There's no plant, well, there's plants now, but that's a whole different conversation. Drinking to the downfall of humanity. I just read a great book called The Wager. It's amazing. It's about an English ship that gets shipwrecked like off the coast of Patagonia. It takes place in like the 1740s, and it talks about, you know, the journey around and what it's like actually traversing those waters. The waters around the Arctic are so fucking dangerous. There's no reason for people to want to go down there in wooden ships. I also think it's really funny that he says, why didn't we go there when it was a luscious green paradise? Well, we probably would have if we could, but unfortunately we showed up to that about 90 million years too late. I think that where conspiracy theorists get the whole Antarctica being ice-free thing was them vaguely remembering a book they read when they were a kid that talked about how during the late Cretaceous, the continent was near the equator, and it was also the warmest the planet has ever been, and so therefore there was like rainforests on it. But there are not rainforests now. The continent is now at the bottom of the planet, and we are at the end of an ice age, so we kind of missed the mark on that one. It's less of a matter of did people reach Antarctica, and more of a matter of if they did, they would have wanted nothing to do with it. It is a cold, barren, desolate place with almost no food. Parts of the year, there's literally no sunlight, there's no wood, like there's just no reason to be there. God, why didn't they colonize the worst place on the planet? Also, another kind of crazy thing that I learned is during the Cretaceous period, which is one of the warmest parts of the planet's history, the atmosphere had 1,000 parts per million of carbon. Now, during the 1800s, the atmosphere had about 250 450 parts per million of carbon, which is, you know, pretty low. That's why it's much colder. Do you want to know what the parts per million of carbon is in the atmosphere right now? 450. The parts per million of carbon has doubled since the 1800s. But climate change is just the woke media. You know, just keep consuming and consuming and consuming, and, you know, we can all dance on the grave of the planet later. Who gives a fuck?
Back in 1912, Captain Robert Scott led an expedition to the South Pole.
Oh boy, okay, Robert Scott. Well, you know what that means. It's time to talk about the Hollow Earth.
Ooh.
Heavily restricted tourist travel to the majority of Antarctica. For your own safety, of course.
Oh, of course. Of course they want people to be safe. Philip, would you go to Antarctica if you had the option to? Remember what I said earlier about how Antarctica is like the shittiest place ever? I don't think you would. I don't think that's a very nice place to go. I think that you would probably say, no, I'll stick to Aruba, thanks. Although I do have a weird hunch that you're Canadian, so maybe you would go there. I don't know. You have a little bit of a Canadian accent at times, and I don't know if I'm like reading into it wrong, considering you look like you're from like Dade County or something. But honestly, I respect a Canadian frat bro. We don't have enough of them. Oh, anyway, where the fuck was I going with that? Oh yeah, man, conspiracy theorists love to like paint this idea that it's like they're hiding something in Antarctica because they don't want you to go there. And most importantly, you can go there. There are tours to Antarctica. You can take a ship to Antarctica. I don't know why you'd want to, because it's fucking Antarctica. There's nothing there. It's just snow and ice in every direction forever. And when they say that they restricted travel there, they meant like, you know, individual travel, like personal travel to Antarctica. And of course they restricted that because it's so fucking dangerous. The ocean around Antarctica is the only like unobstructed like ocean current in the entire world, and it's freezing cold. If you guys have seen any videos from like the South Seas, like no, of course they didn't restrict it to cover up the Hollow Earth. They restricted it because people would fucking die going there.
But that doesn't add to his story. That doesn't fit the narrative. It's like when you tell a kid not to do something and it becomes the one thing that they want to do. So it's, oh, I have this bullshit theory that like only makes sense if, oh, it's taboo to do, and it's only taboo to do because they're hiding something. It's like we just watched the like Area 51 thing and stuff. Like, you're not allowed on military bases and stuff, right? But I feel like it got attached to like Area 51, and then that's what really fed into like the aliens and stuff, because they don't want you there. You're not allowed to be there. You're not allowed to be anywhere else. You're not allowed, you know? Like there's plenty of them that you're just, that's not your space, man. You're not supposed to be there. And whether it be for like professional or safety or like whatever, but it feeds the narrative of there has to be something secret here and I can make up whatever I want because no one's allowed to go there and like check it. Although obviously with this it's slightly different because he's talking about how you can go to Antarctica, you can do like expeditions and like everything else. It just has to be done safely. But it adds to the, ooh, what I'm saying could be right because no one's allowed to go and check.
Scouting, him and his crew stumbled on something that no one in the world would have ever expected. Discovers an enormous opening in the icy surface. Him and his squadron fly into it. They're surrounded by a luscious green landscape, seeing giant creatures roaming around him, and he's brought to a shimmering rainbow city. He's surrounded by these flying disc-shaped objects that lead him to the ground, and he's brought to a tall being called the Master.
Hold on a moment. Don't yep me. Okay, bro. I need to have whatever that guy and you are drinking, eating, or smoking. Like, my days. Oh my god.
Disc-shaped objects that lead him to the ground, and he's brought to a tall being called the Master.
Cap. No way. Bullshit. Absolutely fucking not. Now, I've come across this theory a lot, and you get a lot of these kind of TikTok conspiracy shills talking about how Admiral Byrd flew through the polar opening and into the Hollow Earth, and his findings were covered up. And I was curious about that, because I've heard a lot of people cite it, but I have no idea where it's from. So, in light of doing this video, I had to dig into it a lot. As far as I can tell, the source for the whole Hollow Earth theory and Admiral Byrd's trip is from this book. While here we have a reprint entitled just The Hollow Earth, the full name is ridiculously long. The full name of this book is, I'm gonna have to read it off my laptop because of how long it is, The Hollow Earth, the greatest geographical discovery in history made by Admiral Richard E. Byrd in the mysterious lands beyond the poles, the true origin of the flying saucer. Now I hear you behind your
Jesus.
laptop or your phone saying to yourself, wow, that sounds like a reputable academic source, and you would be wrong. The book says that it's published by someone called Dr. Raymond Bernard. It was not published by a Dr. Raymond Bernard. That is a pseudonym. The actual author of this book is called Walter Siegmeister, and it was originally put into print in 1964. There are a few precursor Hollow Earth texts, but this seems to be like the one. This is where all the references to, you know, Byrd's expedition to the South Pole come into play. Now, what is hilarious about this book is it chooses to be wrong in a myriad of ways. One of them is that it gets the dates of Byrd's expedition to the South Pole wrong. It says that Byrd did his expedition in a year when he was actually in the North Pole, and then the author decided to just double down and say that the expedition he was talking about was a secret one that nobody knew about, which is a really weird way of covering your ass in a situation like that, but I respect the hustle. Now, I have to admit, I haven't read through this book cover to cover, because frankly, this video is already long enough, but I was thinking, if you guys would be at all interested, I'd be more than happy to read this and sort of do a bit of a book review and talk about all of these pages of bullshit. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. I'd be happy to do it.
Yup, it's the infamous Hollow Earth theory. And yeah, all of this is in his diary.
So Philip claims that all of this information is in his secret lost diary, something that was rediscovered by his son years later. Now, I did find some evidence of an actual diary left behind by Byrd, and in it had a smoking gun. In it, there was evidence that Byrd, in his flyover of the North Pole, may have actually missed the North Pole by like 150 miles. So the kind of controversy that you'd only care about if you're a big fucking nerd. As for this diary that claims that he flew into an opening in the Earth's core, no, there is no evidence of that. So you may be wondering, he's still referencing it, so where's that reference from? Well, I did some digging. That would be from this book, The Missing Diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd, A Secret Expedition and Journey to a Paradise Inside the Earth. Now, this is, allegedly, a reprint of The Missing Diary, recreation of Admiral Richard Byrd's historic flight planned by the International Society for a Complete Earth. Readers of this diary who wish for additional information can send something to the Complete Earth Society located in Felton, California. So the scientific among you are now thinking, okay, we have a book that references the Lost Diary, and we have the Lost Diary itself. So that's pretty conclusive, right? Sort of. This was published in 1960. This diary was published in 1990. I can find no earlier reference to this diary that actually has any substance behind it. Now, I know that this is more something that has to do with the print of this particular copy of the diary, but I do think it's worth noting that this entire diary looks like this and is printed in Comic Sans. Now, while it doesn't actually say the author on the cover for some fucking reason, this is by a guy named Tim Beckley. Tim Beckley appears to be an actor and a semi-prolific fiction writer. Here are some of the titles of his other highly scientific works. We got Give Me Your Books, Tim Beckley. Oh no, did he die? Oh, fuck, now I feel like an asshole. Why won't you go to the books page? Subterranean Worlds Inside Earth. MJ-12 and the Riddle of Hangar 18. Revealing the Amazing Powers of Harry Houdini. Revealing the Amazing Powers of Harry Houdini, updated. Psychic, Medium, Clairvoyant, Prophet. Angels of the Lord, Expanded Edition, calling upon your guardian angel for guidance and protection. Kahuna Power, Authentic Chants, Prayers, and Legends of the Mystical Hawaiians. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna trust anything about the Mystical Hawaiians from a fucking dude named Tim Beckley. Okay, it's a long-winded way of saying I have no fucking idea what the story is here about this this Lost Diary thing. It's clearly a bunch of bullshit because I don't think that the legendary Admiral Richard E. Byrd would have included in his diary 4 fucking exclamation points next to each other. I don't know, that seems a little unprofessional to me. Now, I'm not gonna go into all of these right now, but all of that is to say that there is absolutely no credible evidence to back up any of this. If you guys want me to do a video going over these books, I'd be no, I'm not gonna say more than happy to, because frankly, I would resent you all for having me do it, but, you know, I have them both, and I should at least probably read them, considering I did give them fucking money for these, which I regret. So, if you want to see the Hollow Earth video, leave a comment.
All right, time to do a book report. Everyone, you got to get that book. Both of them. We got to read them. And then we're going to meet in however fucking long. We're going to have a book report.
And maybe these beings and all the flying discs mentioned are also related to all the UFO sightings we've been seeing in the past couple of years.
Oh, yeah. All the UFO sightings we've been seeing in the past couple of years. Can't go a fucking minute without seeing one of those things. I look there, there's a UFO. I look over here, there's a UFO. I go to the fucking gas station and there's a UFO buying a pack of Marlboro Reds while his buddy's filling the fucking flying saucer with a cool mint zin in his mouth.
Apparently, Admiral Byrd really wanted to share these findings, but was ordered by the military to stay silent about it.
Wow, dude, that's fucking crazy. The military, they're lying to us, bro.
Dun,
Let's not
dun,
talk about, you know,
dun.
MK Ultra or anything like that. Let's talk about this bullshit. I don't get why conspiracy theorists can't just be mad at the government for the things that the government's actually doing. Like, why do we have to make up things to get mad at the government for?
These giant holes have been reported to be seen at the poles on numerous occasions.
I like the images he shows
Wasn't
here.
that a
The first
storm?
one is like some sort of like glacial tunnel, but the second one is just the eye of a hurricane. You could try to pull a fast one on me there, Philip. I know what a hurricane looks like.
In 1829, a fisherman named Olaf Janssen claims to have sailed through a polar opening and into the planet's interior, where he met a race of tall beings.
This is what I mean when I say that Philip yaps. That little clip right there saying that, you know, in 1880 something, a guy named this sailed into a place and met a bunch of giants, takes a handful of words and about 10 seconds to say. This is part of like a 6-minute video. But despite this video being 6 minutes, that's the only information you get on that topic. That's the only thing you hear about it. He doesn't tell you where he gets that information from. He doesn't give anything to back it up. He just states it like it's facts and keeps moving along. So, Philip, you are willfully misleading your audience here because you are providing information without telling them where it's from. Now, if you're citing like common knowledge, that's one thing. You don't really have to, you know, do a source for that. But you are making a really, really bold claim and not even doing the diligence of saying where it's from.
Yeah, because I think when you're like, when you want to talk about something, or if you're trying to like mislead someone or tell a lie, you just like, you don't stop talking, right? You just talk quick and like you just kind of like overload people with like information. And so now I understand a lot more, like in saying that he just yaps, because he'll just say something, move on to next point, say something, and then it's the like kind of just smug, confident way of like just saying something and then making you feel dumb if you don't think that he's telling the truth. It's just like, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say it with enough like conviction that I'm gonna pass it off as real, and then I'm going to make you feel stupid, or like I'm basically gonna say like, oh, these, you know, Google debunkers, like different stuff like that. So you just say bullshit, dare people to like not believe you, and then go to next point, and you just rinse and repeat. Honestly, confidence goes a long way, for better or worse, I guess. Yeah, it's just, I guess that's all you can do with conspiracy theories, right? Because a lot of conspiracy theories just don't have anything behind them. So if you just say it confidently enough, that's supposed to be your proof.
So what is the story behind the guy who sailed into the polar opening? You know his name, you know the date he did it. That seems like you kind of have somewhere that you're basing that off of. Oh wait, you don't even tell us. Well, Philip, lucky for you, I have made this entire video where I do your job for you, so I'll tell you. That claim is from this book, The Smoky God of Voyage to the Inner World. Introduction. The Smoky God of Voyage to the Inner Earth is a classical fictional Hollow Earth adventure presented as a true account and first published in 1908. Do I even need to go on with this? This book is actually fucking great. It is like a fun, almost like a fairy tale. It is just a fantastical novel that is written as if it were true because they don't expect people to take it at face value. The author, Willis Emerson, is doing it as an interview with this Olaf Janssen, and he begins in his foreword by saying this: I fear the seemingly incredible story which I am about to relate will be regarded as the result of a distorted intellect superseded possibly by the glamour of unveiling a marvelous mystery rather than a truthful record of the unparalleled experiences related by one Olaf Janssen, whose eloquent madness so appealed to my imagination that all thought of an analytical criticism has been effectually dispelled. Philip, not only are you claiming that this is a real event that happened and not citing where it comes from, but you're also trivializing the actual book. This book isn't meant to be taken at face value. You're not supposed to have to make the decision of it's true or it's fiction. You're supposed to not think either. You're just supposed to read it and enjoy the story. Yes, at the end of the day, it is a fiction book. It says that. But even the author is sort of playing into this idea of I am going to tell you a story, and you're gonna listen to it, and you're gonna have a nice time. No, I am an archaeologist. I'm not an English major, so I'm not gonna go into a whole fucking analytical, you know, philosophical rant about what it means to misinterpret fictitious work. But there's a great story in here, a piece of storytelling that should be regarded with some amount of respect instead of just using bits and pieces of it to bolster your bullshit claims to 1.5 million people. So there you go, Philip. I got another free idea for you. Why don't you make something talking about this book? That would be kind of interesting, right? You kind of talk about, well, it says this, it says that, and the other thing. It's all from this. They say it's fiction, but like, what if, you know? I would even be okay with that. There you go, $1 million idea, Philip. Oh man. Okay, I swear to God, it's getting colder in here. It is not, it's actually getting warmer in here. Okay, okay, well that's the end of Hollow Earth, thank God. Which means now we get to talk about something really fun, like the pyramids in Antarctica.
Okay.
Now we get to the Ellsworth Mountains in Antarctica. Okay, get your tinfoil hats ready for this one, because this satellite footage from 2016 shows what could be a pyramid buried in the South Pole.
Okay, I mean, I guess I'll give you some credit for could be. Everything could be fucking anything. It's just a matter of likelihood, isn't it? I've talked about this one so many times on short form that I'm not even gonna bother with it, but it is a mountain with glacially carved sides. You know, Antarctica being a continent completely covered in ice, this tends to happen. If you wanna look to another example, here's the Matterhorn. Sort of a similar shape. That's what happens when, you know, it's got glaciers running on all sides.
And even professors admit it. And obviously the Google debunkers will tell you, oh, it's a natural mountain formation formed through erosion.
God, this guy drives me fucking Google debunkers.
But I don't know what kind of looking ass mountains are cut this perfect.
I don't know what kind of looking ass mountains are cut that perfect either, Philip. A glacial looking ass mountain is carved that perfect, Philip. I don't know what kind of looking ass mountain is carved this perfect. Why would there be a pyramid in Antarctica? Whoa.
Because it'd
the
be
UPS
cool.
truck is here. That's exciting. That is almost so nice. I'm not even gonna bother. I am so stoked about the UPS truck being here that I'm even gonna talk about that pyramid anymore because frankly, it makes me wanna,
Yay!
Okay, so this is a map of pyramids all around the world.
Oh, we're back to pyramids. I told you the pyramids were coming back. It's cold in here. I gotta put my foreskin on. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
That's better.
Guys, is this accurate? Is this what it's like? Anklet? That do be a hood. I don't have mine anymore, so I don't know. I gotta ask. I can't confirm nor deny. If only mine were that handsome.
Dude, check this thing out. Isn't this fucking rad? Look at that. Shout out to Boston Crafts on Instagram. Thanks for the foreskin, babe.
Oh no.
Blew out my candle to go eat lunch, and now my lighter doesn't work anymore. My life is in shambles.
Okay, so this is a map of pyramids all around the world, all allegedly built independently of each other and all having identical structures that follow this similar step pattern.
Do you see why I started this video by talking about hyperdiffusion? Philip, you said the same thing when you were talking about the anthropomorphic birds. You were like, they're identical. And I gotta ask, do you and I have the same definition of identical?
Can you stop messing? Can you stop? Because like, oh my god. Editor, cut this out. Editor, please, for the sake of the channel, cut this out. Bro, quit playing with your lips.
And I gotta ask, do you and I have the same definition of identical? Because neither these birds nor those pyramids are identical. They definitely have some superficial similarities, like they're both anthropomorphic bird people, and the pyramids are all, you know, pyramids. But that's kind of where the similarities end, Philip.
Now I know, most historians will tell you, oh, it's just the easiest tall structure to build. It's human nature.
It's human nature. It's in our blood, baby. It's in my DNA. I will revert to pyramid. Yeah, I've actually never heard a historian say that it's human nature, but I do like that, actually. It's like how everything eventually evolves into a crab. Eventually, all humans will make a pyramid. It's something that we're just...
Yes, dude, actually, the giant Bass Pro Shops, I don't remember if I've been in a pyramid one, but they are some of the coolest places ever. Like, legitimately, this is the future. We need to build more pyramids. They can be Bass Pro Shops, they can be anything. What if all, like, what if the next like thing is all the super big companies just make like pyramids? What if Google pyramid? That'd be pretty cool. We could put gold on top of it too.
Like how everything eventually evolves into a crab. Eventually, all humans will make a pyramid. It's something that we're just implicitly drawn towards. Now, Philip, I know you're saying this facetiously. Like, and historians want you to think X, Y, Z. But there's a reason historians think that. That's because it's the most likely option. So let's look a little deeper into these pyramids, shall we? So the pyramids all have sort of the same building components. Most of them are built out of stone. Some of them are built out of like earthen bricks. I don't think any of the ones he's showing are earthen, but most of them are built out of stone. When you're building with stone, there's only so high up you can go with it. While stone is really strong, it's really fucking heavy. And so you can really only build so many stories off the ground, especially without modern technology, before it becomes a problem. So the solution to that is if you want to build a really big structure out of stone, the base has to be substantially larger than the top. And that's why there's so many variations of pyramids. The classic, pyramids at, at Giza, where it's just like, pretty much smooth sides, or what was once smooth sides. There's also stepped pyramids all over the world, which are structurally more like increasingly smaller terraces built on top of each other. While both of those are pyramids, they're both kind of different. This is also where you can tell that Philip has no background in archaeology or anthropology and just listened to Graham Hancock once, because all of these pyramids built in different parts of the world have different purposes. The pyramids in Central and South America are, stepped terraces with a temple at the top. The pyramids in Egypt are burial structures. Some of them have chambers on the inside, others don't. Some of them have staircases. They have about as many differences as you can possibly have for a structure and still call it a pyramid.
If it's so easy, why are our 21st century brains not capable of doing what dozens of ancient civilizations have repeatedly been able to do?
Whoa.
Huh?
Dude, you are asking some powerful questions right now. Honestly, that's kind of a self-read right there, Philip. I think you're the only one who's confused by this. The reason we haven't built any pyramids is not because we can't, it's because there's just no reason to. It would be ridiculously expensive, take up a ton of manpower that should be going to, other things we actually need. So it's not a matter of, why haven't we? It's because we can't. It's a matter of why haven't we? Because why the fuck would we? We have no purpose for them anymore. Our culture does not demand pyramid, other than that one. But we're going to be getting into the Bass Pro Shop's pyramid later, because there's something there that even Philip hasn't discovered.
Ooh. We get to know the secret of the Bass Pro Shop pyramids.
The nearly identical look, yet built by completely different cultures with zero contact among each other and thousands of kilometers apart. And the pointy Egyptian pyramids look much different than all the other step-shaped pyramids all around the world. But this is just the tip.
Philip, I'm going to be up front.
So wait, are they identical or are they vastly different? I thought your argument was that they were identical.
With you, I'm going to say the tip is enough. No more. We don't need any length or...
It's really funny that you're saying that when you yourself look like a tip. I'm going to be honest with you, Chief.
I'm going to say the tip is enough. No more. We don't need any length or otherwise accoutrement to the tip.
We got way more lesser-known pyramids, even older than the Egyptian ones, that ain't even standing anymore. Like the Gunung Padang Temple in Indonesia. Doesn't look so hot now, but used to be a step pyramid.
Piece of evidence number 36 that Philip watched Ancient Apocalypse once and decided to make it his entire personality. Philip, you're really pushing the definition of pyramid now. Does that look like a fucking pyramid to you? No, it doesn't. I know Graham Hancock said it was, but you don't have to listen to him, buddy. You can think for yourself. If this constitutes a pyramid, then fucking everything is a pyramid. I'm sorry. This literally just has like some terraces. I'm so pissed that the first place that Gunung Padang got, large coverage to a mainstream audience was from Ancient Apocalypse, because now it does shit like this. We can't even recognize the actual cool, historical facts about this site. Instead, we got fucking Alpha Sig here talking about how it's, a pyramid or something. Actually, no, this guy definitely wouldn't have been at Alpha Sig. He looks more like a teak kind of guy.
At least that's what they thought, until a more recent radiocarbon analysis shows that the lower parts of this temple go as far back as 28,000 years.
Did you do your own research here, Philip, or did you just happen to turn off Netflix as you started recording on your phone? There has been a disappointing lack of really good conclusive archaeological evidence coming out of Gunung Padang, and it's been made even more difficult by the release of Ancient Apocalypse, because it's muddied the waters so much that we don't even really know what to believe anymore. But the general consensus seems to be this. There is radiocarbon dates from Gunung Padang that date back almost 30,000 years. What? Smoking gun. Okay, pause. What is a radiocarbon date? It comes from natural material, ash, wood, bone, etc. So while some researchers have been able to provide 30,000-year-old radiocarbon dates from Gunung Padang, they haven't actually provided any sort of evidence that humans habitated the site at that time. Inhabited the site at that time. Getting a radiocarbon date from 30,000 years ago is as hard as going to a place that has had forest for more than 30,000 years and digging a hole. So don't let people like this fool you by saying radiocarbon dates to 30,000 years ago, because that doesn't really mean that much. Proof of human habitation and a radiocarbon date are are evidence that people were there. A radiocarbon date is evidence that a leaf fell there at some point. Now, do I personally believe that humans inhabited this part of Indonesia 30,000 years ago? Abso-fucking-lutely. We have extensive genetic evidence to know that that is the case. Do I think that there is sufficient evidence to say that Gunung Padang, the pyramid of Gunung Padang was built 30,000 years ago? I currently do not think so. Okay, so Philip's weird hyperdiffusion pyramid ideas aside, we now have to move on to a video of his that, in my opinion, is the single most egregious pseudoscience video I have ever seen in my entire life. It is one that is so bad, so poorly researched, and so far-reaching that I have literally used it as an example when giving guest lectures at universities. That is, of course, the fucking Bosnian pyramid.
Oh?
Hey, the real Pharaoh's curse is that we haven't built a pyramid bigger than Giza yet.
Hey, I don't know why this guy is so obsessed with the idea that we need to build a pyramid to prove something.
Maybe he just wants one.
Why don't you go build a pyramid, Philip?
Yeah.
Huh? Put your fucking money where your mouth is. That's right, baby. We're talking about the Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia.
Buried Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia, and you will not believe what they found there. In 2005, archaeologist Dr. Samir Osmanagic realized, hey, this hill in the small Bosnian city of Visoko is oddly shaped like a pyramid.
No. Samir Osmanagic is not an archaeologist, Philip. He is a Bosnian businessman. It is pretty funny, though, that you can see a lot of these, like, pseudoscience people just getting conned, you know, fucking left, right, and center by businessmen.
This hill has virtually every characteristic of a real pyramid, and we continue to ignore it.
Oh my god, again with this fucking language. And yet we continue to ignore it. We're literally just asking questions here. Why is it that no archaeologist has acknowledged that this hill that isn't a pyramid is actually a pyramid? The Pyramid of the Sun is not a pyramid. Correction, let me walk that back. We currently have no evidence to definitively state that the Pyramid of the Sun is a pyramid. To give you a little bit of background, the Pyramid of the Sun was discovered by this guy, Samir Osmanagic, who is a Bosnian businessman, let me reiterate. So when he found this hill that sort of looks like a pyramid, he thought to himself, hey, I can make a whole ton of... What kind of currency do they use in Bosnia? Bosnian currency. Wait, no. Oh, I thought it said USD. Hey, I could make a whole lot of Bosnia-Herzegovina convertible marks off of this. Is that actually what it's called? Bosnia-Herzegovina convertible mark. Go figure. Samir got his start working for gas companies in Texas, meaning that he was reared from a young age knowing how to exploit nature's beauty in order to milk the pockets of a bunch of gullible people. So what he did is he claimed that he found a pyramid in this small town of Visoko, and then he made himself the president of the Pyramid Foundation and, you know, got a whole bunch of money from the government and pretty much made like a massive tourist trap in order to drive industry to this town. Now,
Oh my god, this reminds me of the video that we watched of like the people who would find like caves and then charge people to like go through the caves. So you just determine that something is cool and people should pay you to see it. And because this hill has at least 3 sides, the fourth one in the back didn't look quite as defined, you make up this cockamamie bullshit story and you actually get like the government and everything to like recognize it and like, or at least to like some degree. That's crazy.
Don't get me wrong, I have a lot of respect for someone who's trying to drive tourism to more remote parts of the world. But what I don't have respect for is Philip, who's too much of a fucking dolt to actually do any research himself.
To start, it has 4 triangular sides. That's it. Pyramid confirmed. We're done. Joking, but it's got even grade slopes and corners that connect perfectly under the foliage.
No, Philip, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you wanted to do a video saying, hey, this businessman found this place and here's his evidence for why he thinks it's a pyramid, and then, you know, look at the actual scientific consensus, I would actually be okay with that. Because at the end of the day, we do need diversity of opinion in the archaeological world because that's how discoveries are made. But this fucking guy phrases the entire video like this is an actual pyramid.
Perfectly aligned to the cardinal directions, being only 1/300th of a degree off from perfect north, whereas Giza is 2/60ths of a degree off. Electromagnetic frequency readers saw readings of 60 times more.
He just like rattles off a bunch of buzzwords like the electromagnetic frequency ratings and how close it is to magnetic north and all this shit.
4 other smaller hills around it that are also suspected to be pyramids or some other structures, as is usually the case at these ancient sites.
Usually the case at those ancient sites. Oh boy, he's got that fucking image. The amount of time times I've seen these images now, like they're just burned into my brain. Look, here's 4 pyramids and 4 examples of 3 doors next to each other and 4 examples, oh no, 5 examples of 3 things next to each other.
And just have a look at these drone shots and tell me these formations look natural to you.
Those look natural to me.
Radiocarbon analysis taken from the rocks hidden beneath the vegetation revealed that this pyramid would be over 35,000 years old, over 30,000 years older than Giza, during a time in which traditional history claims only tribes and cavemen incapable of erecting such monuments roamed the earth.
Oh my god, this guy makes me have a fucking migraine. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. First and foremost, check traditional history off your bingo cards. You could also check off telling everyone that archaeologists think that ancient people were stupid, which they don't. And lastly, Philip, I know we already talked about radiocarbon dating, but apparently we're gonna have to do it again because you learned fucking nothing. A radiocarbon date of 30,000 years does not mean shit. A radiocarbon date dating back to 30,000 years in a layer that shows that there was human habitation actually means something. Getting a radiocarbon date of 30,000 years ago is as easy as being in a place where something was growing 30,000 years ago. You cannot look at this date of 30,000 years and just be like, yeah, this means that it was a pyramid built almost 30,000 years before Giza. What the fuck, Philip?
For reference, here's a timeline of all major ancient civilizations and structures built around the world. And here is where the Bosnian pyramid would stand in that timeline.
Philip, do you actually believe this? Like, I get your whole thing is you want the clicks, you want the views, you got 1.5 million people, and how else are you supposed to engage them unless you're just lying to them constantly? But do you really look at this timeline and think to yourself when the camera goes off, yeah, I said the right thing there. Look at this. Look at how long that distance is. Do you really fucking think that that makes sense to you? Like, just, do you have critical thinking abilities in your head? You can't have this persona of being like, kind of smug and like, you know, everyone knows that I'm saying facts. And then just say something that is just so fucking dumb. Like, there would be one thing if you were like talking about like actual government conspiracies or like, you know, talking about things that the government is actually doing in front of our faces. If you were being all smug about like the privatization of farmland or microplastics in our blood, I'd be like, yeah, fucking go off, king. But instead you're like, yeah, I actually know the truth. Here is all the wonders of the world, and look at this pyramid. It's all the way over here. Mainstream archaeology won't tell you about that.
Excavations also revealed huge blocks of 7 tons each, stacked with geopolymer binding, which is an ancient type of cement.
Dude, this fucking guy. A geopolymer binding. Philip, you're just looking at fucking sedimentary rocks. Like, oh my god, do you believe the words that come out of your own fucking mouth?
Geopolymer binding, which is an ancient type of cement, and perfect placement.
This site wasn't in Ancient Apocalypse, but I'm gonna use this as another piece of evidence because this is the same shit that they said about the Bimini Road and that fucking thing. Philip sees multiple slabs of stone fit really well together and doesn't realize that it's sedimentary rock that has cracked. Of course they fit really well together. Where the fuck else would they be?
Along with perfectly landscaped terraces and other obvious architectural design, but oh no, these are all natural.
Yes, they are all natural, Philip. Geologists have studied the Bosnian pyramid, and do you want to know what they found? The stone layers, the depositional layers in the Bosnian pyramid are the exact same as on every other mountain around them, meaning that they were all deposited from the same layers because it is a natural formation no matter.
Yeah, and since they're like that, then it's just everything on top of each other. It's not like taken from everything else, right? Because obviously if you're taking like rock from somewhere else, it's not gonna be like perfectly in line and everything, right?
Meaning that they were all deposited from the same layers because it is a natural formation no matter how much it looks like a pyramid. In early 2006, osmologists asked a team of geologists from the nearby University of Tuzla to analyze core samples at Visokika. They found that his pyramid was composed of the same matter as the other mountains in the area, alternating layers of conglomerate, clay, and sandstone. You could have literally just Googled this, Philip. It would have prevented you from saying something that was wrong. Unless, of course, you don't actually care about what's right or wrong, and you're just doing this to get as many clicks as possible, because you're kind of a sellout.
Note that this was all uncovered up to a meter underground, as would be expected of a pyramid over 35,000 years old.
Yet again, Philip, does that seem like it makes any goddamn sense to you? Fucking god. I don't know how someone's persona can be so smug and so wrong at the same time.
With some even going as far as saying Dr. Osmanagich purposely placed these carved stones here to deceive the public.
I don't even know if anyone actually said this or if he just made that up, because I don't think anyone in their right mind would think that he placed these stones here himself. But notice how that's the only credit that Philip gives to the alternative viewpoint. He's like, and these fucking idiots think he moved them there. Like, no, Philip, that is the lowest concern here. There are so many other things wrong that are so much more obvious.
And famed Egyptologist Zahi Hawass, who oversees most of the Egyptian pyramid investigations, even petitioning the Bosnian government to stop these excavations.
Yeah, not because it's a cover-up, because it's literally just a fucking waste of money. You are paying a Bosnian businessman, a Bosnian con man, fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars to dig up a mountain. If you actually cared about history as much as you do, Philip, maybe you would care about actual archaeologists getting funding and resources so that they can learn more things. Or would you rather keep shelling out, you know, thousands of dollars for the next fucking con man who said he's figured out the key to the world?
Within hours of this international discovery, the story is swept under the rug and labeled a hoax.
The story was not... Philip, you are so... I feel like I'm having a conversation with a toddler. Nobody listens to me. Nobody cares. Everyone keeps trying to hide it. They don't want you to know the truth. Philip, it isn't some big cover-up. It's just not an archaeological site. So since it's not an archaeological site, why would it even occupy the airspace in, you know, archaeological communities? I'm not gonna waste my breath. Well, I guess I am gonna waste my breath talking about a fucking pyramid, but I have a reason. God damn it.
It's, again, the same thing as being like saying someone isn't open-minded, because it's deemed like a waste of time and people stop doing anything with it, then that just gets converted into, oh, it's a cover-up, because, oh, this is so clearly real, but no one wants to talk about it. Oh, they're trying to cover it up. It's just anything that isn't like in favor of it being real becomes ammunition that it is real. Does that make sense? Like, oh, you're not listening, or you're not willing to like blindly believe, you're closed-minded, so that must mean that I'm right. Oh, people don't think that this is real, so they swept it under the rug. They stopped talking about it. Therefore, it's real. Like, and maybe that's just like the mentality that you have to so like wholeheartedly believe in something that has no like foundation, like nothing really to it. You're just blind faith, and you just make shit fit the narrative to make your point, I guess? Yeah, they're denying it, therefore I'm right. That's the kind of like thinking here, but maybe that's just part of the game? I don't know.
I don't know why archaeologists would waste their breath talking about this fucking mountain when we have actual work to do.
50 archaeologists around the world remained optimistic and actually joined Osmanagich's work in Bosnia, with virtually every single one of them who actually saw it in person confirming that nature could not have formed these hills.
Actually, that's not true. I can find no evidence of these 50 archaeologists. I don't doubt that he had 50 volunteers there who were working on it with him. I doubt they were archaeologists, because every archaeologist who's looked at it has said it's a fucking mountain.
Further studies revealing an entire underground tunnel system in the area, the longest subterranean complex of any pyramid in the world.
Whoa! You know why? Because it's a fucking cave, Philip. It's a mountain made out of sedimentary rock. There's like layers of stone underneath that are all really loose, so when the water percolates down, it makes a fucking cave. Jesus Christ, we need to fund education in this country. You can't get me this fucking riled up looking like this, bro, okay? It's ridiculous.
Inside these tunnels, large stone blocks were found that clearly seemed to be artificially created. What is your expertise in this field, huh, Philip? Now, every archaeologist will tell you that is definitely just a natural rock, but me, the guy on TikTok, I know the truth. You know, I said that this is sort of like sedimentary rock deposits. The reason these rocks are so smooth is because they were once carried by moving water. They're like old river stones and things. So, of course, you're gonna find rocks like this buried in the layers of this mountain. Then placed other artifacts like this giant round stone that no one can explain, and a whole bunch of other smaller ancient trinkets, statues, and even what appears to be a map carved into stone were all found around the Bosnian Valley of Pyramids.
You're not covering your trail very well here, Philip. You kind of accidentally outed yourself there. They were all found around the Bosnian Valley of Pyramids. That's because people have lived in this valley for fucking ever. That doesn't mean they built the mountain. You're finding artifacts from all different points in time in a part of the world that has been occupied for tens of thousands of years, and then just attributing it to the nearby mountain. Also, is that just a rock that looks like a face?
Yes.
It's absolutely just a rock that looks like a face.
All dismissed
Yes.
as irrelevant or flat out ignored by mainstream archaeology.
I'm gonna keep chugging Monster Energy drinks and eating fucking McDonald's hamburgers because it's the archaeologists that are lying to us. I wish that my prefrontal cortex was soft enough to genuinely be convinced that archaeologists are the ones we need to be worried about. That's so much more comforting. Like, I really wish this was the biggest problem we faced in the world. Someone should actually tell Philip what the government gets up to. He might actually be kind of concerned about it. If I could just sit back on my laurels and talk about fucking this mountain that looks like a pyramid, that would be so much better. It's too bad that the government doesn't represent us at all and is actively trying to do harm to our communities. Well, Philip's not talking about that, so I guess this must be the real problem.
Even the peak of the Sun Pyramid forms a perfect triangle with the peaks of the nearby hills.
So this video is a complete fabrication. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, as of right now, there is zero actual archaeological evidence that it is a man-made structure. Yet Philip spends this entire video talking about how it is. He doesn't actually give any sources for this, obviously. So all he does is just rattle off a bunch of stats about this pyramid, and then in place of giving any archaeological evidence, he's like, and the archaeologists don't want you to know about it. So Philip, I did a little bit of research for you because I know how much you care about facts, and you know what? I'm gonna even recite it to you. Pyramid mania has descended upon Bosnia. Over 400,000 people have visited the site since October 2005 when Osmanagic announced his discovery. Souvenir stands peddle pyramid-themed t-shirts, wood carvings, piggy banks, clocks, and flip-flops. Nearby eateries serve meals on pyramid-shaped plates, and coffee comes with pyramid-emblazoned sugar packets. Foreigners by the thousands have come to see what all the fuss is about. Wow, so sounds like this pyramid thing has been working out pretty well for the town of Visoko. And now again, as I said earlier, I am all for finding ways to encourage tourism to smaller communities. And good on the locals for being able to capitalize on it in order to, you know, support their livelihood. This mountain has turned into a nationalist rallying cry for Bosnia. Skeptics who say the pyramid claims are examples of pseudo-archaeology pressed into the service of nationalism have been shouted down and called anti-Bosnian. Whoa. I don't know, Philip. It sounds like you're getting into a bit of a gray area here. A place where a lie has been co-opted by a political agenda, and that anyone who actually tries to speak the truth or analyze these claims further is shouted down. Yeah, that really sounds like the side that you want to be on. Now, wouldn't it be hilarious if Philip, while trying to do his whole preach the truth, just asking questions bullshit, is inadvertently falling into an actual con man's conspiracy? That would be pretty weird, wouldn't it? His Pyramid of the Sun Foundation in Sarajevo has garnered hundreds of thousands of dollars in public donations and thousands more from state-owned companies. Osmanagic says his foundation has received over $1 million, including $220,000 from Malaysia tycoon Vincent Tan, $240,000 from the town of Visoko, $40,000 from the federal government, and $350,000 out of Osmanagic's pocket. Meanwhile, the National Museum in Sarajevo has struggled to find sufficient funds to repair wartime damage and safeguard its collection, which includes more than 2 million archaeological artifacts and hundreds of thousands of books. Uh-oh, a lot to unpack there, isn't there, Philip? Well, I don't know if this pyramid is real or not, but what I do know is that this Osmanagic guy has made a fucking fortune off of this thing. I also can't help but notice, I have no way to back this up, so, you know, this legally is just a speculation, but a large donation of $350,000 out of his own pocket is pretty interesting, because I happen to know that if you donate a large amount of money, it becomes a tax exemption. Now, it seems that Osmanagic did pretty well working in the oil industry in Texas in his early years, so I'm not surprised that he has a little dragon pile to sit on. But it seems like not only is this ploy very effective at getting a lot of money from external sources, but is also a really good place for him to perhaps launder some of his own. Again, for legal reasons, I am literally just thinking out loud here. I have no evidence for any of this, so don't take this at face value. I'm just thinking out loud, looking at these numbers, and Philip, I'm just asking questions. Philip, you know how you were just giving shit to that Egyptologist for saying that they shouldn't be excavating at this pyramid? You could have told that whole story. Remember how I just said that the museum in Sarajevo is struggling to repair wartime damages? This fucking bullshit, this stupid mountain is sucking up all the air in the room, and actual archaeology isn't able to be done. It's turned into a nationalist rallying cry when the actual national pride that exists in the museum has been destroyed by a war and does not have the funding to be repaired. If you actually gave a single fuck about history, you would be talking about these things instead of just saying whatever will get you the most views. Philip, this is a bit of a smoking gun here, because all this money stuff is pretty shady, and you're kind of endorsing it. But wouldn't it be even worse if the government was involved? The Pyramid Foundation's political clout appears considerable. When the Minister of Culture of the Bosniak Croat Federation blocked the renewal of foundation permits in 2007 on the grounds that the credibility of those working on the project was unreliable, the action was overruled by the Federation's Prime Minister. Quote, "Why should we disown something that the entire world is interested in?" End quote. He told reporters at a press conference following a visit to the site that, quote, "The government will not act negatively towards this project." Another member of the national presidency also expressed support for Osmanagis's project on the grounds that it helps the economy. That doesn't look very good. You're saying that the government is willing to allow a con man to continue conning people because it brings economic revenue to the town. Again, I'm all for economic revenue, but Philip, you are a liar. You are a liar who is now literally supporting what some could classify as a government conspiracy. There is a con man who is claiming that he found a pyramid. He makes himself the head of the foundation where he can make a shit ton of money. Some people with a backbone in the government are like, hey, maybe we should allocate resources somewhere else, and other people in the government shut him down because, and I quote, "it makes a lot of money." I'm going to say one more time, Philip, you are a goddamn liar. So there's a reason I'm so pissed off about this video in particular, and a reason that I have used it when I have given guest lectures at universities, because this fucking video has 30 million views. 30 million views.
Wow.
Philip, I don't know if you have a spine, but if you do, I'm going to appeal to it now. You know what? I'm even going to take off my foreskin so that you can take me a little bit more seriously. Philip, you have an audience of 1.5 million people. You have a responsibility to use that power wisely. Because of this video, there are 30 million people who may now believe in a lie that you told them, a lie that you had the chance to research and not spread. Now, I'm going to kind of take the mask off for a second here and speak to you as a man to a man. I know you don't believe this shit. We're gonna get into your very early videos later in this, but I have seen pretty much every video on your channel, and I know that you're interested in science. I know that you're interested in history. And I also know that this is the shit that gets you the most views. The proof is in the pudding. You saying this bullshit got you 30 million views. But I also have to say that, Philip, this is fucking shameful. You are not only actively doing damage to the communities that provide all of the information that you genuinely care about, but you are elevating a fucking con man's grift. If you do have a spine, you will agree with me when I say that there is no amount of views that can justify lying to 30 million people. For the foreseeable future, this one video is the holotype specimen for pseudo-archaeology bullshit, because you, Philip, have summed it up in this one video. You don't seem to give a fuck about what's right or what's truthful, just what's gonna get you the most views. You missed the opportunity to talk about a lost in historical artifacts after a nation is ripped apart by war, and you have actively taught people to not only distrust but to vilify those who provide the information that you are interested in. If you're actually watching this and you feel fucking pissed off right now, you should, because you should be fucking ashamed. I am going to get into giving you some advice on how I think you should turn your channel around, but purely because this is something that I have actually used in presentations, I have to say, you should be fucking ashamed. Okay, well, that was fucking intense. That's all I have for the Bosnian Pyramid right now. I did add the Bosnian Pyramid to the Wheel of Pain for Awful Archaeology, so I will talk about it more extensively at some point. I also want to make a little prediction right now. If, for some fucking reason, Ancient Apocalypse gets a second season, the Bosnian Pyramid is going to be in it. And if it is, I will fly to Bosnia myself and debunk it on site. Okay, now let's talk about...
Goddamn. Oh, dude, he went in. He went in at the end. Dude, I felt like I was getting shamed. Wow. That was a ride. That was a very big ride. Very funny in parts. Got very serious towards the end. Very interesting. And dude, I don't think like anything is more accurate than thinking that people with their conspiracy theories are just fanfic writers. Swear to God. Okay. All right. This was a lot of fun. Definitely a roller coaster ride. Very funny bits, very serious bits. I don't know. Going into this, not really knowing a lot about like conspiracy theories and different things, just learning how confidently wrong I guess certain people need to be to believe in their own theories and different things like that. Very interesting, and I don't think that there's anything wrong if you want to kind of make up conspiracy theories. I think it's just knowing that you are making it up, or at least acknowledging that people might not believe you, and you don't need to like be rude about that or like mock people who don't just take your word for it, or mock them because they want more proof or different things like that. Very interesting. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Please make sure you go check out the original video and let me know if you guys want to see part 2, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of hooked, especially at the end when I felt like we were all kind of slightly in trouble. I want to see some more. So again, make sure you go check out the original video. It's gonna be linked down below. If you like my video, make sure you like and subscribe so I can see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.